Today's lesson is Scientists Capture Image of Milky Way Galaxy's Black Hole. Hi, everybody. My name is Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And welcome to the month of September, which means summer is officially over. We're all back to school, ready to learn new things. And the first thing we're going to learn about this month in our program is about the Milky Way galaxy, especially about the black hole at the middle of the Milky Way. And I guess scientists have taken a picture of that black hole.
That's right. So the Milky Way, of course, is the group of planets and stars that our planet, Earth, belongs to. And at night, if you're in a place in the countryside that doesn't have a lot of lights around, you can probably look up in the sky on a clear night and see the Milky Way, which looks like a band of pale light across the sky, and it's really beautiful.
Right, it's especially visible during the winter, I believe. And, of course, it has to be a dark night somewhere in the countryside. I think if you go to Nantou, you'll get a pretty good view of the Milky Way galaxy. That's one of billions of galaxies in the universe. But, again, there is a black hole at the middle of the Milky Way, which is hard to see because there's all that dust between us and the center of the galaxy. So it's very difficult to see the center of the galaxy. So scientists had to do lots of crazy things to get this picture and bring it to us. So it indeed is a special occasion for all of us to celebrate. So let's find out what this black hole is all about. Let's listen to the first part of our lesson, and then we'll come right back.
Scientists capture image of Milky Way galaxy's black hole. The enormous black hole at the center of the Milky Way has been captured in an image for the very first time. The image was produced by an international team called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration. More than 300 researchers from 80 institutes around the world were involved.
大家好。第一部分，我们看到名词 collaboration 表示合作、协作。例如 after the failure of their first collaboration, the artists never worked together again. 首次合作即告失败后，这些艺术家未曾再共事过。或是 this program is funded through a collaboration between the university and the provincial government. 这项计划是由这间大学和地方政府合作资助。另外补充这个字的动词 collaborate, C-O-L-L-A-B-O-R-A-T-E, collaborate, 指合作、协作。我们可以说 The two famous rappers are collaborating on a new album. 那两位知名饶舌歌手正在合作一张新专辑，或者 Judy and Eric collaborated on the project together. Judy 和 Eric 一起合作进行这个案子。
So today we're talking about scientists who have captured an image of Milky Way galaxy's black hole. So first of all, what is a black hole? It's basically an area in space where the force of gravity is so strong that everything around the black hole and the light around it is pulled into it. So perhaps that's why it's called a black hole, because it basically looks like a black hole because of the gravity. Now, the enormous black hole at the center of the Milky Way has been captured in an image for the very first time. So this black hole that we're talking about is enormous. Something that is enormous is very, very big. It's huge. So the first thing I think of when I think of something enormous is a dinosaur or an elephant.
Yep, those are enormous animals indeed. Of course, the humpback whale is enormous as well. And we do have black holes in various sizes. Black holes oftentimes form as the result of a supernova. The star collapses on itself, and then gravity sucks everything in, so much so that even light cannot escape it. Hence, we have a black hole. And this black hole is not a small one, not a medium-sized one, not just a big one, but a huge one, an enormous black hole, and it is at the center of our galaxy. Now, the image was produced by an international team called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration. So we've got a team of scientists all working together. They are from different countries and different institutes around the world, and they formed this group called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration. A collaboration is when people collaborate, and to collaborate means you're working together. And again, it's called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration. The event horizon is an area in the black hole where light cannot escape.
And the word telescope here refers to a piece of equipment that you look through to make objects that are very far away look closer and bigger. But telescopes come in all sizes. So you have telescopes that you can buy and use at home, and they're usually in the form of a tube or a cylinder. But here we're talking about a telescope that's much, much bigger. So this collaboration or this international team is made up of a lot of people. More than 300 researchers from 80 institutes around the world were involved. So we had a lot of researchers, people who do research, scientists, and they come from 80 institutes around the world. An institute is an organization that does a particular type of research or a particular type of work in education.
Exactly. So we've got lots of institutes around the world that probably focus on physics and astronomy. So all these researchers combined together, they are collaborating, and they came up with this photograph of the black hole at the center of our galaxy. Good for them. You can probably see that picture online somewhere. Okay, let's move on now to the next paragraph and continue talking about this image of the Milky Way galaxy's black hole.
The object has been officially named Sagittarius A star, but the team of scientists affectionately refer to it as the donut. The image shows the shadow of the black hole at the center of a bright ring, which is formed when light is bent around the black hole by gravity. According to astronomers, the black hole is 4 million times more massive than our sun.
第二部分，我们看到单字 gravity 这个字是名词，指重力、地心引力。例如 For centuries, people dreamed of overcoming gravity and flying. 几世纪以来，人们梦想着克服重力，飞上天。或是 I will now demonstrate the phenomenon of gravity by dropping this pen onto the floor. 我现在就要把这支笔扔到地上，以证明地心引力的现象。另外补充含有这个字在内的片语 defy gravity. defy, D-E-F-Y, defy gravity. 意思是违背常理，像是 Property values in the city seem to defy gravity. 该市的房价似乎违反常理。也可以说The company's stock prices seem to defy gravity shortly after its IPO. 该公司在首度公开募股后，股价似乎违反常理。
So the object, again, we're talking about the black hole, has been officially named Sagittarius A star, but the team of scientists affectionately refer to it as the donut. So this black hole has two names. Officially, it's called Sagittarius A star. If you see it in writing, the star is actually written as an asterisk, as a little star symbol after the A. But the scientists also call or refer to this black hole as the donut, and they do so affectionately. When you do something affectionately, you do it with love, with care, with a feeling of warmth. And it's probably because these scientists have been working so hard to capture images of this black hole that they gave it another name, like a little pet name. They refer to it as the donut. So when you refer to something as something else, you're calling it something else. You're giving it another name.
Exactly. And of course, if you look up at the night sky and you see the constellation Sagittarius, well, that is in the general area where the center of the Milky Way is, and that is where Sagittarius A star would be, okay, in that general area. So if you know your constellations, look for Sagittarius, and you should be looking in the area of the sky where the center of the galaxy is. But you can't really see the center of the galaxy because it's blocked by cosmic dust, but they see this black hole because of different wavelengths of light. It's very technical and scientific, but they did manage to get a picture of this black hole, and they refer to it affectionately as the donut. And of course, a donut, also spelled D-O-N-U-T, is a kind of treat that's round. Of course, Mr. Donut and Krispy Kreme are famous donut shops in Taiwan here. And oftentimes, though, if you call someone a donut, it can be insulting. It means they're kind of dumb, kind of stupid. But in this case, they refer to this black hole affectionately as a donut, which means they don't mean anything bad by calling it a donut. It just happens to kind of look like a donut in space. It looks like a ring in space, and if you looked at it, you thought, that looks like a donut. I'd like to take a bite of that.
Yes, and the phrase here, refer to it as, is a pretty useful phrase. So I could also say something like, humans often refer to dogs as man's best friend. So it's just another way of saying to call somebody or something as something else.
Exactly. And let's move on now to the next sentence. It says, the image shows the shadow of the black hole at the center of a bright ring, which is formed when light is bent around the black hole by gravity. So nowadays, of course, scientists have a good idea of what a black hole is going to look like. In the past, they just thought it was kind of a black space in the middle of space where you couldn't see anything. But of course, there's a movie that had an image of a black hole. It's got kind of this really bright light sort of wrapped around it. Kind of looks like Saturn, sort of. And indeed, that's what this is going to look like. It's going to kind of look like a donut where light is bent around the black hole by gravity. It's kind of hard to imagine that light could be bent into a circle, but of course, we've got high gravity around a black hole. Hence, you're going to see light bent around the black hole. And gravity, of course, is a force in the universe that pulls things to other objects. Of course, we stand on the Earth because of gravity. If there was no gravity, or if there were no gravity, we would float off into space. The Earth would no longer orbit around the sun. You get the idea.
Right, and according to astronomers, the black hole is 4 million times more massive than our sun. So these astronomers, or these people who study the stars and planets, which is what astronomers are, they think that the black hole is 4 million times more massive than our sun. So in other words, we're talking about the size of the black hole and also the content of this black hole. The word massive here can mean the size. So the black hole is many times larger than the sun, but it can also refer to both the size and the content of the black hole. And these astronomers believe that the black hole is 4 million times bigger than our sun.
Right, so it's pretty huge. That's our point here. The black hole is really, really heavy, really, really big, and much, much larger than our own sun. If this black hole were in the position of our sun, now we would be goners. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. It's time to move on to the third and final part.
Sagittarius A star was more difficult to image than the last black hole they captured, called M87, because it is much smaller and the material around it moves much more quickly. 8 radio antennas in different locations around the planet were combined to create an Earth-sized telescope. Scientists now plan to direct the James Webb Space Telescope toward the black hole to study the environment around it and determine how it interacts with its surroundings.
第三部分，我们看到动词 interact 指相互作用、互相影响或是互动。举例来说，A good way to make friends is to interact with others more often. 一个交朋友的好方式就是更常和其他人互动。或是 This online game allows me to interact with players in other countries. 这个线上游戏让我与其他国家的玩家互动。另外，补充2个与 interact 相关的单字。第一个是 interact 的名词 interaction。interaction interaction 指互动，像是 Carol doesn't have classes with Sam, so they don't have much interaction during the day. Carol 没有和 Sam 一起上课，所以他们白天没有什么互动。也可以说 Rosie's school emphasizes social interaction between the students.Rosie 的学校重视学生之间的社交互动。第二个是 interact 的形容词 interactive 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 指互动式的。举例来说 The interactive video display allowed students to look up facts about the museum. 这个互动式影像萤幕让学生可以查询有关这间博物馆的事。或者 For more information, you can visit our company's interactive website. 若需要更多资讯，你可以上我们公司的互动式网站。
So Sagittarius A star was more difficult to image than the last black hole they captured, called M87 or M87, because it is much smaller and the material around it moves much more quickly. So it's not the first time that the team of astronomers were able to capture images of a black hole. So the last time they captured images was of the M87 or M87. And here, note that we're using the word image as a verb. So when you image something, you're capturing images of that thing.
Exactly. So, of course, image can be a noun and a verb. It's more often a noun, though. I caught an image of the tornado, for example. I got a picture of the tornado. But, of course, here they're talking about the process of getting an image of something, and Sagittarius A star was more difficult to image or to get a picture of than the last black hole they captured, which was called M87. And the reason Sagittarius A star was more difficult to image was because it is much smaller and the material around it moves much more quickly. So if you're a photographer and you're trying to take a picture of something, yeah, it's difficult to take pictures of things that are small and things that are moving around so much. It's difficult to focus on those sorts of things.
Yep, and 8 radio antennas in different locations around the planet were combined to create an Earth-sized telescope. So this telescope wasn't located in just one spot on Earth. It was located in 8 different spots. And it was made up of 8 radio antennas. An antenna is a piece of equipment, well, the ones that we know that we use at home for televisions and for radios. It's usually a long piece of metal that's used to receive radio or television signals. Now, these antennas might be of a different shape. They're definitely a lot bigger, and they were used to make up this telescope that was able to capture images of Sagittarius A star.
Yep, you know, Sagittarius A star is in the middle of the galaxy, which is millions of light years away from where we are. So they need to have an antenna that is as wide as possible to receive signals as accurately as they can. So they put antennas in different locations around the planet. And of course, all those antennas were combined together to create a telescope that was as big as the Earth. It was Earth-sized. Antennas also exist on various insects, like ants have antennas, or mosquitoes or other kinds of insects. They have them. They pick up signals from other bugs so they can exchange information that way. But here we're talking about antennas that are used in astronomy, and they're quite large. They could be very large dishes, for example. And, of course, they combined all these different antennas to make a telescope that was really, really big. And I don't think it had actually any lenses in it like a real telescope. It just relied on radio waves or different kinds of waves in the electromagnetic spectrum, but they were still able to get an image.
That's right. So scientists now plan to direct the James Webb Space Telescope toward the black hole to study the environment around it and determine how it interacts with its surroundings. So these scientists want to use another telescope, and this telescope is called the James Webb Space Telescope, and they want to use it so that they can study the black hole in more detail and see what the relationship is between Sagittarius A star and everything that is around it, or the environment that's around it.
Yep, so we've had the Hubble Space Telescope operating for many years, but now we've got that brand new one that isn't even in orbit around the Earth. Technically, it's kind of far away from the Earth, and they are planning to direct that telescope toward the black hole to learn more about it and to learn more about the environment there. And they want to determine or figure out how it interacts with its surroundings. To interact means one person says something, the other person hears it, and then says something back. They are interacting. And yes, indeed, they want to know what this black hole is doing at the center of the galaxy. Is it sucking in other stars, or are other stars orbiting around it with no problems? Yeah, they want to know exactly what's happening in that part of the galaxy. And the surroundings, of course, refers to the area around that black hole, again referring to the behavior of other objects in that vicinity.
Right. So for the word surroundings, I could also say that my house where I'm living now is in a place that has nice surroundings because there are a lot of restaurants and convenience stores all around. So I purposely chose to live in a house in nice surroundings that would give me a very convenient lifestyle.
I think lots of people would like that kind of area as well. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Let's listen now to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分的第二句写到 The image was produced by an international team called the Event Horizon Telescope Collaboration. 这张影像呢是由名为事件世界望远镜合作计划的国际团队所拍摄的。那文中它用到 telescope 还有 collaboration 这两个单字，那我们来学习它们的字首字根。好，首先来看到 TELE 这个字首呢，它有远方远的或是距离遥远在远处的那种意思，那很多跟通讯相关的单字都跟 TELE 这个字首有关，像 television 电视， telecommunication 电信等等。好，那在我们这个 telescope 这个字当中，它的字首 TELE 表示远方，那么 scope 当名词它可以指范围领域，不过呢用来当字尾的话，它表示观测仪器，我们用来观测远方的仪器，那就是望远镜咯。好，那顺便补充几个有相同字首的单字。第一个补充的是 telegram， 那它的字首 TELE 表示远方， GRAM 表示书写，合在一起 telegram 就是电报的意思。那第二个补充的是 teleprompter， 好，它的字首 TELE 表示遥远，那后面接了 PROMPT， prompt 这个部分表示提示提词， 那么 ER 则是名词字尾，我们把它合在一起 teleprompter 就是电子提词器或者是自动提词机，像我们在录影的时候前面有一个提词给你看字幕的东西。好，再看到呢第三个补充的是teleconference， 那它的字首 TELE 表示距离遥远，在远处， conference 则是会议啊，讨论会，把它合在一起 teleconference 就是远距会议、视讯会议的那种意思。好，那我们接着来介绍 labor L-A-B-O-R， 我们知道它有那种工作啊、劳动、劳工、劳力的意思，那带有这个字根的字呢，多半就含有劳动、劳力的语义。那我们课文用到 collaboration， 它是来自动词 collaborate。 我们来看看这个字，它的字首 C-O-L 是来自 C-O-M， 那么 C-O-M 因为碰到 L 开头的字根才拼成了 C-O-L， 那这个字首呢，它表示一起。再来 labor 表示工作， A-T-E 是动词字尾，那一起工作应该就可以联想到合作的意思咯，所以 collaborate 它就表示一起合作啊，共同合作。我们顺便也补充两个有相同字根的单字，第一个是 elaborate E-L-A-B-O-R-A-T-E， 那它的字首 E 是来自 EX， 表示彻底、完全，做强调用。那么字根 labor 表示劳动， A-T-E 它可以是动词字尾或是形容词字尾。那当我们做事情呢，做得很彻底，完完全全的把它做好，那应该可以联想到 elaborate， 它有精心制作的意思。那它当动词就表示精心制作啊，详细说明。当形容词念作 elaborate， 则表示精心计划的、精雕细琢的，或是复杂的、繁复的。再第二个补充的是 laborious， 它是在 labor 后面加上 I-O-U-S， 那么 labor 是劳动，后面的 O-U-S 是形容词字尾，结合在一起，我们去想想看，某件事情它是需要劳动的，那就表示它是费力的、吃力的， laborious 就可以形容它是费劲吃力的。好，那以上是今天的重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Enormous. There is an enormous table in the center of the dining room. Telescope. Stephanie looked through the telescope at the night sky. Institute. Larry applied for a position as a research assistant at the Institute. Gravity. Gravity is the force that pulls things toward Earth. Massive. A massive wall surrounded the palace gardens. Interact. These chemicals interact with each other to form an explosive substance. Surroundings. When they are placed in a new environment, rats will explore their surroundings.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today. Were you surprised to learn about the black hole in the middle of our galaxy? Why or why not?
I was very surprised to learn about this black hole because I had not heard about it before and I didn't realize that it was so close to us. I knew that there were many black holes, but hearing about this particular one in the Milky Way galaxy was quite special.
Well, actually, I already knew that there was a black hole at the center of the Milky Way. I think there's a black hole at the center of every galaxy, and that eventually, after billions and billions of years, those black holes will suck in everything in the galaxy, and the galaxies will all disappear, and the universe will be completely dark. Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoyed reading along with us. I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.